Well, EA had some news. I guess they had their earnings call recently, so like a lot of news sort of spilled out from that. The first one that sort of got my attention was they talked about Apex Legends. The CEO mentioned they have tens of millions of regular players, which is not insignificant, of course, and that they expect this franchise to last for like a really long time, 10 to 30 years, like basically. And that they're going to be a big update after the new Battlefield comes out, which is like next year. So I don't even know what that means. Like what a big update to that game would be, and I don't know. Anyway, so the point is that Apex Legends seems to be doing pretty well, and they're just going to be expanding upon it. That was the news I took away from that.
Yeah, they shouldn't make an Apex 2. They need to just improve.
Yeah. They're not going to, trust me, they're not going to do what fucking Overwatch did.
Overwatch, what a bad idea.
The other thing that came out of the EA call, which I saw got a lot of press, was they talked about Dragon Age, the new Dragon Age game being I guess a commercial failure.
It wasn't that it was a commercial failure. It didn't meet sales expectations.
Okay.
There is a difference. There's a difference.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess by their internal standards, it was maybe a failure, but maybe it didn't lose money.
Yeah. I think it sold like 1.5 million copies or something like that.
1.5 is not a lot. It has to be a lot more than that. Otherwise, they lost money. But they said that they basically blamed the lack of sales on it not being a live service game. And so that's getting people a little worried because the next Mass Effect game is what they're working on now. And does that mean that Mass Effect is going to be now a live service game instead of an epic single player adventure like it was previously? Do you think the right lesson to take away from Dragon Age's lackluster sales was that it was the lack of live service that did it in?
No, that is not the reason why that game had lack of sales. That game had lack of sales just because it came out kind of late. Like it came out in December.
I mean, the game is fine, but it's nothing really more than fine. It's like
I liked it a lot, but
you liked it a lot.
Yeah, but it's just the game. It doesn't do anything new. It's not going to set the world on fire.
The story is not like there's nothing about the game that was super interesting. Like the most interesting shit was like kind of manufactured by like people trying to get like outrage over the game. Like, oh, it's too gay or not gay enough or what. I didn't follow any of it, so I don't know what people were complaining. I knew they were complaining about some shit.
One of those.
It sold 1.5 million copies in the first quarter.
Okay.
The sales.
That's a Game Pass game, right?
No.
Oh.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
And the sales goal was 3 million. Copies.
Okay, so yeah, 1.5 million is that's a failure. That's a huge fucking.
I mean,
obviously, if they were looking for 3 and they got halfway, that's not good. So, but anyway, the point is, I think like the game itself was just fine, and I guess those sales expectations were probably like realistic if the game was a little better. Like if the story was maybe more like, why did you pay any attention to the story or did you skip through the whole story?
I don't even think the problem isn't even so much the story as I think.
Answer the question first.
What?
Did you skip through the story? Did you skip through the whole story? I mean, I was skipping through the fucking story.
I skipped through every story, so I don't understand what your point is.
All right. Well, then
I'm like, I don't get where you're going with this. Did you do it to this game what I do to every game? Yes.
Well, but like Mass Effect, like to me seemed like all of them seemed like way more epic and
I would
interesting.
say the last Dragon Age game. What Dragon Age used to do very well was it had a more complex leveling and spell system. And the moves you would do and what you could do and what you could do with your teammates. And they kind of stripped that down. And I think that they may have stripped it down a little too much. I think there might be a mid-ground that might be better than, it didn't have to be as crazy.
Sounds like a great name for the next one.
Yeah.
Dragon Age, mid-ground.
Yeah.
Mid-ground, yeah.
I think there's going to be a next one.
So,
no. They fired everybody.
Yeah, they moved them.
They moved some of them out of employment.
Mm-hmm.
That's not funny, but they are working on the next Mass Effect game. But it's not looking good if you're looking. I feel like if you're expecting a single player game that's just like the other ones, but like amped up more because we're next gen everything now.
And clearly, that guy at EA that said it should be a live service game never played Anthem.
I feel like these guys.
I mean, to be fair, no
one did. I feel like
womp womp.
I feel like he didn't play any of these games.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know anything about this guy.
I don't understand what. I mean, how would you even make that game? What does it mean? I mean,
how many copies did Elden Ring sell?
A billion?
You should be able to sell that many, right?
Of Dragon Age.
Of Dragon Age. If you're making a high quality fantasy action adventure game,
I mean, I think
you should be able to sell as much as any other single player game that's not of some IP that is just like, like a household name IP, like a Marvel or something. You're not wrong.
If you're looking for sales like that, because what Elden Ring does well and better than pretty much, most games out there is it has a large and interesting map. It has many different types of enemies that require different challenges to defeat. Not even talking about the difficulty.
Mystery too. Like,
yes.
like actual adventure, like
a lot of
video game adventure.
Lots of character customization, lots of different weapon types, lots of cool, rare weapon items to find in the game, not to buy as a microtransaction, like the special sort of something that you have to do some sort of like weird thing that, because what makes a game like Elden Ring special and why people go back to it or just keep playing it is that there's a lot of
adventure in the adventure game.
Yeah, there's
no adventure in Dragon Age, right?
This is very much a straight line.
Right.
This is very much a straight line. If it wasn't a straight line, it could have been better. I mean, you could say the same about Baldur's Gate 3, which I never got into because that game was just too many menus and things were a little too complicated for me.
I haven't tried that.
I really wanted to love Baldur's Gate 3, and I know people that do, and I think it's great that it exists and it's there for those people. That's not for me. I need something that's like in the middle. But yeah. That has a little of everything. But I did play Elden Ring, and I played a lot of that, so whatever.
And they sold how many of those? Like
28.6 million.
I was going to say 20 million.
28.6 million.
So EA, setting their target for 3 million for Dragon Age, they knew that it wasn't that great, right? Because, EA obviously has a lot more resources to put behind any game in terms of marketing and production than the people working on Elden Ring. So they knew that, all right, we put out basically a by the numbers fucking action RPG, and it's going to do a middling amount. 3 million is not much to get excited about for a big game.
It'll sell 3 million.
Maybe it'll get there.
Just not in Q1. That was their plan in the first quarter of the game.
Yeah.
I think also releasing it in December, not in November, hurt.
I just think that any executive looking at that and saying, oh, it's because it wasn't a live service game is making a really big error in judgment there.
Well, yes, we know that. And we can talk about that with our the next topic, goes right into that. Because Multiversus is kaputs.
Remind me, that's the Warner Brothers?
That's the Warner Brothers licensed Super Smash
game,
Brothers live service game.
They killed it again?
They're killing it again.
Why are they killing it again? How can this cost them money at this point?
They released the season 5, I think is what they are calling it. I guess it's the 5th season of the game. And that is going to be it. You can no longer spend money in the game, though. They already took that out.
Right.
And that's it. The game is done. There's no more Multiverses after season 5 is the last content they're releasing. So if you bought that season pass, good for you. And then I think when the season ends, they're taking it offline.
Forever.
They're shutting down the servers. Yeah.
I heard they're burning the servers.
Yeah. You can still play, apparently, against AI or couch co-op, but that'll be it.
Oh, okay. So you can at least still play this game if you...
I think you have to have it installed and play it before they shut everything down in order to be able to do that. There's some weird caveat. But yeah, that's it. For all intents and purposes, this game is dead.
Great job, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty shitty though. It was pretty budget. I felt like they
It
didn't really
was-
put their,
it was
their
fine.
heart into it.
It feels like they probably could have just released it as a game,
Mm-hmm.
and then again, like
People would just have it.
that let people just have the game, and
Right,
then like
right.
the people who want to play it could just play it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, it didn't have to be gone from existence.
right. And then they wouldn't have like needed all these people to like continue to support it and put out new stuff. You could have
Right.
just
Could have just took the $50 the first time and then sell people skins like you do in every other game.
right.
That probably would have been all right.
Probably would have done just
Same.
fine.
Would have had some more income. Anyway, so that game's dead.
Yep, that's the end of that. So shutting it down for a year
Did not help.
It did not help.
Did they at least get a tax write off of some sort?
I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to get a huge tax write-off. And now they're back.
I'm glad for Warner Brothers.
And now they're back doing stuff in Fortnite again. Because for those who don't know, they stopped, like they ended their contracts with Fortnite because they thought Multiversus was going to be their cash cow.
See, isn't
and
that
they-
amazing? Like
And that they didn't need Fortnite
the
anymore.
hubris, the hubris of that.
Like, yeah.
And then in
Oh, our
December-
competitor Fortnite, like felt their fucking hot breath on their back. Like, oh man, they're right behind us. Oh no.
And then in December, all the DC stuff started coming back. So I'm like, oh yeah, that was sort of the writing on the wall. Like, oh, maybe they're going to try to just do both, or they know that this is where the money is.
Why
Right.
wouldn't you at least like try to tie it into Fortnite or something?
I-
Like any of these things
Sure.
of like play like 15 rounds of multiverses and you get some backpack that you don't
You
want
mean
to
like
use.
you mean like Marvel Rivals did? They're
Right.
no fools. They're like play 5 rounds of Marvel Rivals and get a free glider in Fortnite. And you know what? I did it because I'm an addict. So
I have a secret.
oh, my lights just went on. Alexa, turn off all the lights.
I think a lot of these executives, they don't know what they're doing. They're just
What?
sort of like winging it.
Then how did they get those high-powered jobs, huh? Explain that.
Nepotism.
Yeah, it's probably DEI.
Right, exactly.
Like,
Speaking
oh,
of
these poor white men, they need these high-powered jobs.